Hi, my name is Elisa Burgraff, and for my final project I chose the topic of surviving in nature. I chose this topic because as a librarian working with children in the public libraries for the past 8 years, I know that this topic is of interest to children, and also research in the reading preferences of children indicate that survival stories meet a lot of their reading preferences. So, for example, research has found that boys and girls, they like to read about animals, science, sport, biography. They also like fantasy, mystery, and adventure genres. And then research in boys reading habits, a 2009 study found that boys usually choose books that have covers that depict dangerous activities. They like stories with characters who face and meet challenges, and they also like books with facts and information. And so I think survival stories can meet a lot of those reading preferences for both boys and girls. The book I would like to share with you today is this one. It is a nonfiction book. It is Shipwreck at the Bottom of the World, The Extraordinary Story of Shackleton and the Endurance by Jennifer Armstrong. This is a fascinating book about Shackleton's expedition to Antarctica. It's written in a narrative nonfiction style, which I find to be very engaging. Jennifer Armstrong uses lots of secondary sources, but she also has access to primary sources as well. So several of the crew members kept journals, and Shackleton had a photographer with him as well. So this is Ernest Shackleton. He was fascinated with Antarctica. He had attempted to be the first man to reach the South Pole, and that didn't work, so this expedition is his second attempt at exploring Antarctica. And he wanted to be the first person to cross the continent from one coast to the other. He left with a crew of 28 men, and it was pretty hard right from the start. The ice around Antarctica was larger and denser than it normally was, and the ship got to within about 100 miles of the continent and then became stuck in the ice, and they were stranded there. Eventually, the pressure of the ice was so great that it crushed the boat, and the boat sank. They had lifeboats on board, and they were able to get the lifeboats and their supplies off, but they were still stuck on the ice. They ended up dragging the boats because they're on the ice, they can't find open water. They're in this condition for several months. It is cold, there's snowstorms and ice storms. They're living off of meat, which messes with their digestive systems, and even when there's no storms, it's still very cold. These are very harsh conditions. Antarctica is the most hostile place on Earth. They are finally able to get their boats in the water, and they get to land, Elephant Island, only to be stranded there and waiting for rescue for 4 months. This is an amazing story. It is so well written. At the very beginning of the book, Jennifer Armstrong writes, in 1915, a British crew of 28 men was stranded there in Antarctica, the most hostile place on Earth, with no ship and no way to contact the outside world. They all survived. She tells us that from the very beginning, that they all survived, and yet the story is so fascinating. The events are so harrowing. I kept wondering if she was telling me the truth, because how could they possibly survive that kind of environment? So I enjoyed it. It is great for readers 10 and up, and I hope you will enjoy it as well. Thank you.